Happy Friday, everybody. December 20th, 2013. I'm your host, Dr. Peter Glidden. Welcome aboard to another live edition of Fire Your MD Now. Well, I don't know how it happened, but it's the weekend before Christmas, and we all know what that means. The roads are filled with stupid drivers. Can you believe it? I mean, have you ever seen so many stupid drivers in your entire life? Oh, my God. I was just at a Costco parking lot this morning, and I swear to God, it was like the land of the lost. I don't know where people learned how to drive, but on this weekend, it's going to be bad. So my advice, put on some fun music. Take your time getting to wherever you're going to go, and instead of getting frustrated, take some breaths and laugh at all of the knuckleheads that there are in the world, which is an interesting little segue here into the holistic world that we inhabit, because it is impossible to statistically analyze how many automobile accidents are caused by prescription medications. Nobody ever thinks about this, and nobody ever talks about this. Now, I'm not talking about prescription medication abuse. I'm not talking about oxycodone abuse. I'm not talking about people who steal cocaine from the pharmacy and abuse it. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the regular negative effects delivered to your body-mind from prescriptive agents. It's a fascinating field of study, pharmacology, and you never really know what's going to happen when you dump synthetic drugs into the human body. This is why anesthesiologists have the highest rates of malpractice insurance of anybody in the medical field. Anesthesiologists pay more for malpractice insurance than anybody else, because when you dump synthetic man-made chemicals, biochemicals, into living, breathing, holistic human bodies, it's a wild card and anything can happen. You know, you all heard stories about sedatives amping people up, and sleep medicine making people wide awake, and medicine that's supposed to amp people up, amphetamines putting people to sleep. Every once in a while there's a wild card reaction in the human body, and you never really know what's going to happen, because the body is a giant biochemical soup, of course, which is inhabited by the soul force. But nonetheless, when you take a prescription medication, I don't care if it's just an antibiotic, I don't care if it's a heartburn medicine, I don't care if it's a high blood pressure medicine, it makes you feel funny. You're not yourself. You don't think the way that you did before you took the drug. You don't cognize the way that you did before you took the drug, and different drugs have different effects on different people, and when you're taking this stuff day after day and week after week and month after month, which is what the MDs want you to do, it starts to affect slow but steady weird changes in your body mind. And I'm saying weird changes. So depth perception changes, your reaction time changes, your mood changes. You want to see a prescription medication negatively affect somebody's mood? Go hang out in the chemotherapy clinic. Go hang out in the chemotherapy clinic. Or do a Google search for chemo brain. Do a Google search for chemo brain. It makes you not yourself. But it's not just the big bad voodoo daddy drugs like cisplatin and gemfibriol, the chemotherapeutic drugs. It's not just those. It's everything. For goodness sake, most people who hang out inside of the longevity world are becoming less and less and less and less, they're becoming more and more and more and more drug-free, getting off of their prescription medication safely, effectively, and quite frankly, easily. And the longer that you're prescription medication free if you ever need a prescription medication, like you have to go get some Novocaine or you have to take some extra strength Tylenol or whatever, the cleaner that your body is and the further that you are away from taking prescriptive medications every day like the pharmaceutical industry wants you to, you have direct personal experience of how it messes up your mind. And sometimes it's a little bit of a mess up, and sometimes it's a medium-sized mess up, and sometimes it's a major mess up. Now, when you have that experience that, oh my God, I just don't feel like myself, I mean, you know what coffee does to you. For goodness sake, have a couple of shots of espresso. You know, you're all amped up. You're a little on edge, right? Maybe you're a lot on edge, but you're different than you were. It's a drug. It's a drug effect. Nicotine. Why do you think people smoke cigarettes? Because they feel better when they do. Because of the chemical effects of the nicotine, plus a couple of other things. Well, it's no different with a drug. So if you take a drug for your blood pressure, it's going to affect your mind. If you take an antibiotic, it's going to affect your mind. Because everything's connected inside the human body. So when you're driving out and about this weekend, the weekend before Christmas, and you see crazy drivers, you see people just doing stupid stuff, you see people in the fast lane going 50 miles an hour on the highway, you see people just stopped in the middle of the parking lot for no reason, just stopped in the middle of the parking lot. You see people at the red light, and then the red light turns green, and they're still there, and they don't go. You see people put a right blinker on, and instead they turn left. You see all of this nonsense. I want you to think to yourself, son of a gun, I wonder how many prescription medications that person's on. And when you start to think this way, you start to get deeper and deeper and deeper entrenched in the truth, in the reality which we are uncovering for you 5 days a week, 52 weeks out of the year, that prescription medications delivered by MDs practicing allopathic medicine, trained in a reductionistic philosophy of healing, for chronic disease, prescription medications delivered for chronic disease, change people's minds. They do. Not only do they not work, not only are they ineffective at getting to the root cause of the disease, not only are they only managerial in their effects on the human body, and expensive, loaded with side effects. You heard the caller yesterday, right? She was diagnosed with breast cancer, and they wanted to put her on a prescription medication for it, and one of the side effects was uterine cancer. Well, that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Well, it doesn't to you, and it doesn't to me, but this is how the MD thinks. And, you know, this is a nonsensical way to view the relationship between the human body and disease and health, and yet the MD holds this crazy, archaic, dangerous, ineffective, and expensive point of view all of the time, and they sleep quite soundly at night, going to bed resting assured, resting on the laurels that they in fact were trained in the best medicine on the planet, and in fact it's a lie. Most MDs themselves have drunk the Kool-Aid. They actually think that you get fat because you have a stomach, and so you got to cut your stomach out. That's what you have to do. Cut your stomach out. For goodness sake, they actually think that the BRCA mutation gene is something that you can inherit, and you can't. Well, maybe you can, but they've never diagnosed what causes the mutation. What is it that causes the gene to mutate? Well, what is that? By the way, as far as I'm aware, they've never proved that you can inherit the gene. Never proved it. Never proved it. And they don't know how it manifests itself. They don't know. They're completely clueless about it. So, you know, but they'll test somebody, and they test positive for the BRCA gene, and they'll tell them they need to cut their breasts off. There was a guy there was a house painter that was in the Chamber of Commerce with me a couple of years ago in Chicago. He's in his 40s, so late 30s, early 40s. The doctors told him they wanted to cut his breasts off prophylactically because he had the BRCA gene. And I told him he was an idiot if he did that, and he agreed. Didn't do it. But, you know, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, and not only are we destroyed in the main, not only are we destroyed in the foreground, prescription medications and MD therapeutics being the leading cause of death in the United States, the leading cause of death. It's a statistical rap. It's unarguable. It's not a theory. It's a fact. The facts, ma'am, just the facts. Not only are prescription medications dangerous and deadly in the foreground, but they're dangerous and deadly in the background. How many automobile accidents are caused because people are out of their freaking minds because they're taking Prozac, because they're taking hydrochlorothiazide, because they're taking hydrochlorothiazide and Prozac and extra-strength Tylenol and Cipro. It's the rare human being over 50 years of age that's only on one prescription medication. And if medications are so much of a wild card that the insurance companies refuse to insure anesthesiologists at a normal rate, why? Because prescription medications are a wild card. Then why isn't there more oversight into this? Why aren't the police required to write down how many prescription medications and which type of prescription medications the person involved in the automobile accident was taking? Why aren't they required to do this? Because the pharmaceutical industry doesn't want that to happen. Are you kidding me? They've got everything controlled, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if it's a conspiracy. I don't know. But I do know that the pharmaceutical industry has monopolized the medical marketplace. I do know that. They control everything. They control the way that the laws are written. 1/3 of the people who work for the Food and Drug Administration in the United States, 1/3 of the medical professionals who work for the Food and Drug Administration, writing regulations for the pharmaceutical industry, have financial ties to the pharmaceutical industry. You've got to be kidding me. They've cooked the books. And they have their best interests at heart, not yours. Our message is simple, clear, and it's the same every day. Fire your medical doctor. Cancel your comprehensive medical insurance. Buy catastrophic medical insurance instead. Educate yourself about good food, bad food. Take the 90 essential nutrients. Live long and prosper. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. This is Fire Your MD Now. I'm going to talk to Paul in Wisconsin when we come back. Happy Friday, everybody. Stick around. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Friday, December 20th, 2013. Dr. Peter Glidden here, your steadfast advocate for health. Thanking you for all of your support, for tuning in and turning on and opening your mind to the possibilities of science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition developed and delivered by licensed, regulated, and naturopathic physicians. You know, while we're on the subject, I was just doing a little Google search, and in 2008, deaths from prescription medications, overdoses, exceeded that of automobile deaths. So that was 2008. And the Food and Drug Administration called this an epidemic. And what's been done about it? Nothing's been done about it. They'll call it, oh, it's a horrible thing, oh, it's a tragic thing, oh, it's a bad thing, and something needs to be done about it. What do they do about it? Nothing. Because they don't have your back. They want to sell more drugs. You get it? They blame the patient. It's the patient's fault. The patient overdosed. Well, where do they get the medication they overdosed from? The doctor gave it to them. Does the doctor go to jail? No. Do the employers that employ the illegal aliens go to jail? No, they should. If they know they're illegal and they're employing them, they should, but they don't. That would screw the economy up too much. For goodness sake, we're upside down, inside out, and all around backwards with all of this. And where's the outrage? You kidding me? Prescription medications kill more people than cars do, than car accidents. You got to be kidding me. So why the heck are we wearing seatbelts? I mean, that was a big hubbub. Why don't they do something about prescription medications? Why don't they start penalizing the doctors who are the doctors of the patients who do this? Why don't they? Oh, that would hinder the delivery of medicine here. Oh, they're too big to fail. Oh, we can't put Pfizer Pharmaceutical in jail. They're too big to fail. And so forth and so on. And so we march slowly towards our doom. Unless, of course, you're a member of Longevity Nation. Let's go to Wisconsin and talk to Paul about hypoglycemia. Hey, Paul, thanks for the call. You are live.
Good afternoon, Dr. Glidden. Pleasure to speak with you.
Now, did I get it right? Are you up in Wisconsin?
I am.
All right, very good. How is it up there, by the way?
It's raining and cold today.
Yeah, I'm down here in Chicago. I think we've got the same weather. It looks like all the snow is melting. Is it below freezing? It must be if it's raining.
It's above freezing.
Yeah, above freezing. That's what I meant, yeah.
Or I would guess.
Must be Friday, right? So, hey, man, thanks. Enough of this chit-chat. Paul, thanks for the call. What can I do to help you?
Well, little background. I started to develop psoriasis about 20 years ago. It morphed into psoriatic arthritis. I seem to have those under control for the most part.
With drugs? With prescription meds?
No, just the psoriatic arthritis. I went on the master cleanse, and I read about leaky gut and stuff, so I've been working on trying to heal the leaky gut.
All right, very, very good. That makes you the smartest man in Wisconsin.
Well, we're trying. About 3 years ago, I started having panic attacks.
Oh, yeah.
So I started researching that and saw that 60% of people that drink a lot tend to have anxiety attacks or panic attacks. So 3 years ago, I stopped drinking.
What happened to the anxiety attacks?
For the most part, I have them. I don't really have them anymore. Every once in a while, they'll come on, and that's what led me to the hypoglycemia. I took an online test. I read your book, and I read Dr. Wallach's books, and apparently I have a lot of the symptoms. I have the...
Get sleepy after a meal, and you wake up in the middle of the night?
Yeah. Now, I work rotating shifts, so people always say, well, do you feel better? And when you work rotating shifts, feeling better is a relative term, you know.
Yeah, I know. I was on a fishing boat years and years and years ago, a commercial fishing boat, and we did rotating shifts, and it almost killed me. I mean, I don't know how people do that all the time. I don't know how you do it, man.
I've been doing it for 12 years, so you kind of just get used to feeling lousy all the time, I guess.
Well, you know, I can help you with all of this stuff, man, and I'm glad that you called. We are coming up against the break here, so stick around with me. But before we get to the break, the one thing that I'd like to kind of lay bare here is, don't you just love the fact, and I'm speaking tongue-in-cheek, that you have to research all of this stuff yourself? I mean, doesn't that speak to a wonderful health delivery system here in the United States?
Well, it is awesome. When I started having the panic attacks, I went to my doctor, and because I didn't know what was going on, and I ended up on, the ER doctor, because I ended up in the ER because I didn't know.
Yeah.
So they put me on, what is the...
Lorazepam? Xanax?
Well, that's what I ended up on, that's Celexa. That's what my MD ended up putting on, but it's not Valium, my brain isn't functioning, I'm on the phone now.
Yeah, it's Xanax. Got to be Xanax, benzodiazepine. Stick around, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. We're talking it out with Paul in Wisconsin. Back. Welcome back, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here, steadfast advocate for health, welcoming you to Friday, December 20th, live edition of Fire Your MD Now. We're talking to Paul in Wisconsin about a great many things. Paul, are you still with me?
I am, sir.
All right, very good. Thanks for holding on. Now, just before I get into the meat and potatoes here, so what do? You live your life, you pay your medical insurance premiums like a good fella should, and then when push comes to shove and you actually need the services of the MDs, they let you down. They give you ridiculous prescriptions that are completely miss the mark. They don't fix the problem. They're expensive. You feel like crap when you're taking them, and they're so bad that you yourself feel compelled to look for an alternative. So, it's nuts. And this is what passes for the best medical system in the world. It's nuts. The system doesn't need to be tweaked, up-regulated, or down-regulated. It needs to be abandoned, because there are millions of people just like you who are sick and tired of being sick and tired. They're fed up. They don't know what to do. And so they're left to their own devices. By the way, because your situation is it is a microcosmic view reason, reflection of what's going on in the world on a massive scale. And that's exactly why Dr. Wallach, in his wisdom, chose to set Youngevity up as a network business. Because we have solutions to all of these problems. We have science-based, clinically verified solutions to support and promote the structure and function of your body-mind in the face of many chronic diseases. But because we've been underneath the thumb of the pharmaceutical industry for so long, I mean, let's be honest, most people don't even know how to pronounce naturopath, let alone know what it is. It's the rare individual who's even heard about naturopathic medicine, and so that's why the Grassroots Coalition exists, because we're attempting to reach people just like you as rapidly, as deeply, and as widely as we can, because people suffer needlessly. All right, so let's take it from the top. Anxiety and panic attacks, most of the time, from our point of view, are caused by essential fatty acid deficiencies, magnesium, and calcium deficiencies. Those are the three biggest players. Essential fatty acids, omega-3 and 6 essential fatty acids, the calcium and magnesium. But, you know, where there's smoke, there's fire. And nutrients travel in packs, so there's always more than the major players that are deficient here, and we don't need to worry about that or bother about that or test for that, because we offer comprehensive solutions which give your body all of the nutrients that it needs. Blood sugar issues, if you do have a blood sugar issue, you may, are caused by vanadium and chromium deficiencies, plus about 25, 26, 27 other little trace minerals. And also, interestingly enough, omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids also play a role. So, you know, the arthritic stuff that you've been bothered by is, of course, calcium and magnesium deficiencies and a whole bunch of sulfur-bearing molecules and some other trace minerals. So, for a long time now, your body has been deficient in minerals. And you've been able to give yourself a leg up in one area or another and control things by cleaning up your diet and going on cleanses and doing different herbs and such. And that's a fantastic thing. And the piece that you're missing is the mineral piece. It's the mineral piece. Go ahead.
I've been listening to Alex Jones for a couple of years, and I heard you and Dr. Wallach on there. So about a year ago, I started on Tangy Tangerine. It's probably wasn't doing as much as I should. So for the last 6 months, I've been doing 2 scoops in the morning, 2 scoops in the afternoon. Actually, for a while, I was doing 2 in the morning, 2 at lunch, and 2 in the evening.
Yeah, how much do you weigh?
How much do I weigh? Well, when I first started taking Tangy Tangerine, I was weighing about 215. About 3 months after I started, I lost about 30 pounds, and I kind of leveled off at 185.
Now, you know, I love Alex Jones. He's got a great megaphone, but he missed the boat with Youngevity, and I've told him this, but I don't know why he won't let me on the air to kind of round this out for everybody. But Youngevity's whole thing is there are 90 essential nutrients that the human body needs, 90. Tangy Tangerine doesn't give you all 90 essential nutrients. It comes close, but it doesn't give you all 90, right? So we need 90 essential nutrients appropriate for your body weight. Plus, in the case of bone and joint trouble, we need extra calcium and extra sulfur-bearing molecules in order to support and promote the structure of your bones. And when we've got a blood sugar issue, we need the 90 essential nutrients plus a little extra blood sugar support. So you're really close, man. I mean, you're warming right up to what we need to do here, but we just need to tweak it a little bit.
And that's why I'm calling is I listen to your podcast every day. So
Okay.
I'm tweaking, slowly adding things. So about 3 months ago, I added the OsteoFX. I'm only doing 1 scoop a day.
Okay.
And then I added selenium. I'm doing 2 bottles a month, 2 to 3.
Yep.
Now what I can afford.
Yep.
And then I started doing the colloidal minerals. I was doing 2 ounces in the morning and 2 ounces in the afternoon. And once things started to go goofy with this blood sugar thing or whatever it is, I tweaked that up to 3 ounces in the morning and 3 ounces in the afternoon, and then I just received a bottle of Sweeties.
Okay.
And I'm not real sure on how to take those, so that's really the reason I'm calling and see if you have any ideas on how to dial this in better.
Yeah, I most definitely do. I'm really glad that you called, and I appreciate the support and the trust, quite frankly. So a better calcium for you would be a SuperLife Cal Toddy. That's a Youngevity subsidiary. You get it through Youngevity. And when you go to the back office and you order stuff, there's a little drop-down menu with the different companies that Youngevity has subsumed. Well, find the SuperLife tab and get a bottle of their calcium. It's called Cal Toddy, Caltoddy, and it's liquid. Now, I prefer that better than the powdered Beyond Osteo FX. I just do. It's better in this regard. I think you'll get more bang from it. It's a little bit less expensive. I think it tastes better also, and you get a little bit more bang for your buck here from it. Now, in a perfect world, you would get 2 bottles of that a month, and you'd take 1 ounce. Actually, the best thing for you to do would be to take 2 ounces in a little bit of water immediately before bed. 2 ounces and a couple of ounces of water immediately before bed. Slug that stuff down, brush your teeth, get into bed. 2 ounces a day. If that's outside the budget, do at least 1 ounce a day. You have to do at least 1 bottle of that a day, and that's a good way to go. The Sweeties, what I'd like you to do with the 1 bottle that you do have for 14 days is take 4 of the Sweeties between breakfast and lunch and 4 of the Sweeties between lunch and dinner. I want you to take them on an empty stomach. Do the Sweeties on an empty stomach, more or less. And if the Sweeties upsets your stomach, then you can eat, a couple of bites of an apple or some fruit. You can have some fruit or yogurt, all right, fruit or yogurt. But I don't want you to have any grains or any nuts.
Well, I've been gluten-free for almost a year.
Okay, well, then that's great, really great. But the mineral supplements can be impeded. The absorption of minerals, specifically minerals, and the Sweeties is practically all minerals. The absorption of the minerals can be impeded by phytates, Phytates. So you don't want to be eating rice or beans or nuts or spinach, food that's high in phytates when you take the Sweeties, okay? So, and I think that they work better on an empty stomach. Some people say you should take them before a meal, but I don't know. I think you should, you're going to get more bang from them. And by the way, the selenium, 2 bottles of selenium isn't bad. 4 bottles would be better, but I understand the whole budget thing. So 2 bottles for you, minimum a month of the selenium is a really good idea. That would be 6 a day. So I would do those. I would just bundle the Sweeties with bundle the selenium with the Sweeties and just take them at the same time. So
I could do those first thing in the morning when I wake up?
You could do that. How soon after you wake up do you eat breakfast?
Generally, I'm on vacation right now, so generally what I'll do is I'll get up and I'll have my tangy tangerine, put the minerals in it, and I take my selenium and my EFAs, and I nurse that over about a half hour, drinking that. Yeah, and your stomach's okay when you do that? No problems at all. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so you can add the selenium and the Sweeties first thing in the morning. But I want you to wait at least an hour before you eat anything that has phytates in it, okay? Okay. At least an hour after you do that. And then you're going to have to figure out when in the afternoon to take it, based on your schedule, whatever. You could also take that stuff between dinner and bedtime if it's easier for you. You got to get it into your body twice a day, spread it out. Take the calcium before bed. And so for 14 days, I want you to do 8 Sweeties a day, all right, for 2 weeks. And you'll run out of it in 2 weeks if you take 8 a day. I've got 4 more bottles coming. They ship out on the 9th. All right, excellent. So then we're going to know. Now we're getting real here. So for 14 days, when you're taking 8 Sweeties a day, which is a good dose for you, by the way, you want to look to see, and 14 days is plenty of time to see whether or not your mood is affected, the falling asleep after a meal is affected, or sleeping through the night
is affected. And within 14 days, you should notice a difference. Now, if there's zero difference, I want you to do it for another 2 weeks. Now, you're only 180 pounds, and 2 weeks certainly should be enough time for you to see whether or not there really is a blood sugar thing going on here. The only other way to know for sure is to do some blood work, but I don't want to go down that road. I think you sound like a very on top of it guy. So I think if you're just mindful of how you feel, that you'll be able to dial this in. Now, if you do feel better with 8 sweeties a day, then that's what you do. You do 8 sweeties a day. And I would do that minimally for 6 months. 8 sweeties a day for 6 months, and then you can back off and see how you feel. Maybe you'll be able to get away with 4 sweeties a day or whatever. But it's kind of, you got to figure it out as you go along. Now, down the road, after you get this straightened out here, right? So now we've got you on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. It would be 2 scoops twice a day.
Correct.
In a perfect world, you'd be taking 6 EFAs a day, 2 bottles a month, EFA plus. Okay?
I do 6.
All right. So now we've got you doing 6 selenium a day and 8 sweeties a day. The 2 things of calcium a day. The only other thing that you should add into the bargain here, whenever it fits the budget, is the glucogel. And and that's for the psoriatic arthritis. I got to tell you something, man. Dr. Wallach's glucogel is not like any other glucosamine chondroitin supplement I've seen. It's better. It's more effective. It's just better. So when it's in the budget, the recommendation for the glucogel for you would be 18 capsules a day, right? So you do 6, 6, and 6. That's, 540 a month, right? So you're going to have to get to 2 or 3 bottles of it a month. But that's the target that you want to shoot for with the glucogel, is 18 glucogel a day, and I want you to do that for 6 months. Now, for the psoriasis, right, you have to eliminate all 10 bad foods, not just wheat, barley, rye, and oats, and increase your consumption of antioxidants. Your goal should be 100,000 ORAC a day. Dial it in, Paul.
I've been trying to figure that one out.
All right, stick around. You want to get away? Well, this weekend maybe is not the best time to do that, unless, of course, you're traveling back home for the holidays. Be careful out there on the roads. There's a lot of drugged out of their mind people behind the wheel. So be safe. Take it easy and try to have fun. Instead of being frustrated at the foolishness of others, just laugh and let it solidify your determination to spread our longevity message far and wide and fast. Talking to Paul here, we're going to finish out the first hour. Got to tell you something, Paul. I've never spent this much time with one person, and I'm doing it for you because you're such a loyal fan. But you've bought the books, you've listened to the podcast, you've done all this stuff on your own, and that's just an awesome thing, man. It's the rare individual that does that. So I really want to help you to dial this in.
Well, I appreciate your time.
Yeah. Well, we're all in this together, man. So that's how we do it. So, ORAC, right, that's a tricky thing, and I've been waiting because I just don't have the time, or I haven't made the time. That's probably a more honest way to say it. I haven't made the time to do this, but I've been waiting for somebody on Team Glidden, or somebody in Longevity Nation, I don't care where you are, to put together a chart of foods and quantities and ORAC, right? Because it's confusing. You do a Google search for, ORAC food values, and it's hard to figure out how much food you have to eat. How many carrots do I have to eat to get 10,000 ORAC? I mean, it's a confusing thing. How much cinnamon do I have to use to get 5,000 ORAC? So somebody in Longevity Nation, you want to send Dr. Glidden an awesome Christmas present? Put together a chart of the ORAC values of the 100 most common foods, and life would be very, very good. You'll really help a lot of people if you do that. And maybe
one of the questions is, I was looking at cinnamon and cloves. They're a teaspoon of cinnamon, 7,000 ORAC points, and cloves are 6,600. And I was wondering, could you just strictly bring up your ORAC just with supplementation?
Yeah, you can. The easiest way to do that, again, thank God for Dr. Wallach, is the triple treat chocolate. One piece of the triple treat chocolate, by the way, it's glycemic index friendly. One piece of the triple treat chocolate is 17,000 ORAC, for goodness sake.
I'll have to look into that.
So you can do it. I mean, it gets pricey, right? If you just lean completely on supplementation to do it, you can do it. And in the new Tangy Tangerine, the 2.0, the peach flavored one, 2 scoops is 8,000 ORAC, right? So you're doing 4 scoops, you're already getting 16,000 ORAC. You need 84,000 ORAC more. So switching from coffee to green tea, or by the way, they've got coffee that's high in ORAC. And I don't know if you know this, but the coffee bean that you grind for coffee is a little seed that's inside a fruit that grows on the coffee bush. It's called a coffee cherry. And so they pick the fruit off of the coffee bush, they let it dry, it cracks open, and the seed pops out. They throw the dried fruit away, and they roast the beans, the little nut, the little seed that's inside the fruit, and that's what we make coffee from. There are some companies that dry and process the whole thing, the fruit and the seed.
I didn't know that.
If you can find a coffee company that does that, it's loaded with ORAC. I mean, it's loaded with ORAC because the fruit is loaded with ORAC, and that's very interesting. There's only a handful of coffee companies that do that. They'll do a little Google search for, I think it's called a coffee cherry or coffee ORAC or something. You'll be able to figure it out. But, green tea, red wine, cinnamon, curry powder, walnuts, and it does get confusing. If it's in the budget, the easiest way to do it is with the triple treat chocolate. And there's also another supplement that Longevity sells. This was my demise a couple of months ago because I took too much of it on an empty stomach. Cell Shield RTQ. Okay. One capsule of the Cell Shield RTQ gives you 8,000 ORAC, which beats a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. And I wish that somebody in Longevity would do an ORAC score for the Fucoid Z, because I know it's loaded with ORAC, but I just don't know how much. You'll be able to figure it out, though, Paul. 100,000 ORAC a day is a very good target for you. Remember, it's not just wheat, barley, rye, and oats, but it's all 10 bad foods, especially with psoriasis, oil in a bottle and fried food. Oil in a bottle and fried food. Those are loaded with free radicals. And from our point of view, it's free radical damage to the skin that causes psoriasis. Keep up the good work, Paul, in Wisconsin. We're expecting big things from you in 2014. I appreciate the support. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. This is Christmas Travel Weekend. Be safe. Coming back with a second hour after these words.